Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I am the Night Walker, and this was a tough decision I had to make. For a while there, I was debating whether I wanted to do like one video where I talk about, some of my favorite TV shows. Like, do I want to do a video on, say, like Tales from the Crypt? Do I want to do a video on the Addams Family, so on? Or would I want to do maybe a series of videos where I talk about some of my favorite episodes, or basically just go through all of them? And I think I'm going to go ahead and go with the last solution. I think I'm going to go ahead and start talking about my favorite TV shows and start going through pretty much every single episode. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy this. And this is going to be pretty much a long series of videos. And so let's get started. Then came the next big problem. What was going to be the first TV show I was going to talk about? I got a lot of favorite TV shows. And I thought I'd go ahead and start off with Lucifer, season one, episode one. Now, yes, it is the DVD. I know. Trust me, I'm getting ready to upgrade to the Blu ray very soon, I promise. So hopefully within the next, one or two episodes you see of me doing Lucifer, I'll have, instead of holding up the DVD, I'll be holding up the Blu ray because I definitely do want this show in high definition. But got this for a really dirt cheap price, so I can't complain. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Now, the show, okay, obviously is about Lucifer, the devil. He's been ruling hell for so many centuries, and he decided he wanted to take a break from it and decide he's going to, come to Earth and pretty much live it up, even though it goes against, God's wishes and it's basically it leaves hell open so that anybody could get out of hell and escape and cause problems. But Lucifer is at the point he just doesn't care anymore. He just, he's tired of, just basically torturing people for all eternity, which, it's like, I don't know. I guess maybe you could get tired of that sort of thing. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. That to me would seem like that would be a lot of fun. A lot of fun torturing the evil. It's like that seemed like that'd be a whole lot of fun. Like off the top of my head. Okay, you ever hear of Elliot Rogers? Like back in what was it, 2014, I think it was. He did the what was it, the Isla Vista massacre? Or anyway, where he murdered seven people. He went on shooting spree, and um, because basically the reason why he went on a shooting spree was mainly because this guy couldn't get women to be attracted to him, and mainly, particularly, he just wanted white blonde women, from my understanding. Everything I've ever heard of him, it didn't say anything about like he was attracted to like Hispanic women or black women or anything like that. As far as he's concerned, he needed to have a white blonde girlfriend, specifically that. So it's like, if I was, Satan and I was, torturing the damned like Elliot Rogers, what more fun, to sit there and like flaunt all these beautiful blondes in front of him, knowing he could never have them. That's just, one thing, but, you get the idea. But anyway, so Lucifer's decided he's going to go ahead and come to Earth and have his vacation. And much to the chagrin of his brother, who's an angel, Amenadiel, who's right there, um, Amenadiel comes up and explains to him that he needs to return to the underworld, that, the demons can roam free. But Lucifer is very much about letting him know that he's not interested in going back and dealing with hell and ruling that. But Lucifer also takes his companion Maze, who's there to be his basically bodyguard, protector, and she's like the demon chief torturer of hell. And so, of course, she's there. She's enjoying a lot of this stuff as much as he is. He's engaging in all kinds of sex and debauchery and stuff like that, and so is she. And they're having a good time. But at the same time, though, Maze is kind of, you could tell Maze is getting a little bit more, irritated with the whole thing about being on Earth. And, she kind of wants to go back to her job. She was having fun being the torturer of hell, but, she's, her character is basically about, she's going to try to always be on Lucifer's side. She's always going to be there to have his back and be his guardian and his protector. But, But anyway, so Lucifer, yeah, he's kind of like now he's all about like nice clothes, nice threads, driving a nice car, having money. He owns a nightclub named Lux where he's party wild parties every night, sex every night, all this other kind of just living the high life, right? And he is visited by this one girl named Delilah, and it turns out she is afraid that she sold him her soul. In which case he lets her know that she didn't sell her soul to him. Just all he did was just do her a favor by introducing her to people that he knew, she could work with. And he's all like, you do owe me a price though for all this, because you became a big star, you became a big model, singer, all this other kind of stuff. So you do owe me something. And she's like, I'm scared. He's like, well, you should be, because what I'm going to ask you is probably the most, frightening thing that I could ask of somebody, which is you need to get your act together. You need to stop this stuff and you need to get your act together. So anyway, so they're out talking, they're walking down the street, they're talking, and she tells Lucifer, I'm going to get my act together. I promise I'll do it for you. He's like, don't do it for me, do it for yourself. Now, one thing people are going to find out about this show that right off the bat you might not agree with, but if you take the moment to think about it, it does make a degree of sense. That is the fact that in this show they make Lucifer, now while Lucifer is very bold about himself, he's very like overconfident, he's very opinionated, things like that, but he is also incredibly charming. And I know a lot of, and he is, even though he has a little bit of an asshole side to him, he's a likable asshole. Um, and I know a lot of people, probably a lot of Christian people would be offended by that. But if you take a moment and think about it, it makes perfect sense because the whole idea of Lucifer is the devil is he's supposed to be charming. He's supposed to be seductive. He's supposed to make you want to, you know, he's supposed to draw you to him. Now, if they made him horrible and just flat out evil all the time and just did terrible things and said terrible things, that's not going to make anybody want to go towards him. So, so you got to make him, interesting. And Tom Ellis, the actor who plays Lucifer, he does a phenomenal job of that. He plays smug, he plays smarmy, but at the same time, he plays very, very charming. He plays very, definitely has a chemistry about him. He makes you want to watch him. He does bring this, presence to him as Lucifer, and that's the thing. I mean, they really did go with the perfect actor for this role because you could have, you cast the wrong actor, especially trying to play this kind of a part. That could sink this show immediately. But because now the show has gone on for 4 seasons now, and they're getting ready to put on the fifth and final season on Netflix here before too long, that goes to show you that they did do the right job in getting the actor for this. So anyway, so he's talking with Delilah, and they're hugging, and they both get shot down in a drive-by shooting. Of course, Lucifer, he's fine, he's the devil, so he's immortal. But Delilah, she gets murdered. The drivers try to drive away, but they get sideswiped by a bus, and Lucifer, he sees this girl who's a friend of his that he cared about, that she's been murdered, and so he's pissed about this. He's very furious about this. So he goes, and just as the shooter sitting in the backseat of the car is about to die, he asks him, why did you do this? And he's like, for what other reason, man? Money. And he's all like, oh, if I was still ruling hell, the plans I would have for you. And but the guy dies. So, Lucifer is upset about this. Now they call in, the police department and the cops and everything. So we get introduced to our main female character here, Chloe Decker, played by the amazing Lauren German. And I mean amazing in every level. She's amazing. Not only, I mean, obviously, look at her. I mean, my God, does she just not knock you on your ass for how beautiful she is? I mean, she's easily one of the most beautiful women in the history of ever. Okay. But that's not to say that she's not a good actress. She is immediately likable on this show. She is immediately, you fall in love with her as Chloe Decker. And it's not hard to see why. I mean, it's like you would definitely, that would be the thing. If she lets you in, I'm talking about the character. If the character Chloe Decker lets you into her life as a friend, you would certainly be championing her on because she's really doing a tough deal. She's a cop who we learn through the show. Before she became a cop, she was an actress. She did a topless scene in a movie called Hot Tub High School, which Lucifer, at the beginning when they first meet, Lucifer's like, I remember seeing you naked. I know I did, so I just can't picture it. Then finally it's revealed that she was in this movie Hot Tub High School, and she did this topless scene. They kind of like make it seem it's reminiscent of like Phoebe Cates' topless scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. But she decided she didn't want to be an actress, and she loved her dad and appreciated her dad, and she wanted to go ahead and become a cop and help people and just try to do the right thing. Which she's we find out her character is honest, she's noble, she's um, she is the kind of person you want her on your side. But if you are the kind of person you're doing bad shit, she's going to get you for it. So, but she's not somebody that, as long as you're a decent human being, you would have no reason at all to hate this woman. But we're going to learn throughout, the other episodes that, some of the cops obviously are not so, as, by the book as she is, and as honest and noble as she is. So we're going to find that out. But still, so she goes to question Lucifer. And of course, he's immediately taken with her and he's trying to seduce her. But see, one thing we find out about Lucifer in the first episode is that he has powers basically to get people to admit their deepest kind of darkest desires, and usually it works on everybody. Chloe is the one person it will not work on. He can get it to work on anyone but not Chloe, and this kind of intrigues him, but it scares him a little bit at the same time because nobody's ever been able to resist him. But Chloe is, she's saying she's going to do everything by the book, but he doesn't honestly believe that the police give a damn about Delilah and that they're not going to bother trying to find her killer. So he decides he's going to go ahead and try to find her killer himself. So he goes and he talks to this guy, Jimmy Barnes, who's a music producer who produced her albums. They were intimate together, and at one point, like, he said he wanted to marry her, but something about she didn't want to be married, but to him, but he was going to marry a model. So Lucifer shows up, and in a very funny scene, he goes up and he's talking to Jimmy, and Jimmy knows that Lucifer has these powers of being able to persuade people to, talk about their deepest, darkest fears or their desires. And he's able to get this woman that Jimmy's going to marry to admit she doesn't want to have sex with him. She's disgusted by him. She doesn't love him. She doesn't want to marry him. So that kind of puts that plan out. And he suggests to Lucifer to talk to a rapper named Tuvile. So Lucifer, he goes, it's a detective show. I mean, if you've seen stuff like Law and Order, detective shows like that, you know how a lot of these shows work. They go to talk to somebody, they get a little bit of information, they're told to go talk to somebody else, or they get a tip off to go check with somebody else. And so it's that kind of thing, so it definitely has the formula of a detective story, but it has a supernatural element to it as well. And so he goes to talk to Tuvile, and they're you know he gets Tuvile to admit like what had happened between the two of them, but Tuvile admitted he never hit Chloe, never didn't abuse her in any way, shape, or form. And so then or Chloe Delilah, I'm sorry, but Chloe does show up, and she handcuffs, and that's when it's revealed everybody remembers her from that movie. And so, she takes Lucifer with it, and he's telling her we should work together. And he's, talking about how she's, that Delilah was his friend and he cared about her, and that he just wants to, see justice done. But what we ultimately realize is the fact that, Lucifer, he's Satan, obviously. And so his thing is, if people do bad things, he wants to be there to punish them for it. And so that really does kind of, that kicks into his nature. That's what he does. He punishes the guilty. And so he decides he wants to help Chloe Decker find whoever did this and make sure that they get, punished accordingly. So they start to work together, but then we get introduced to more elements that are going to key into the story, like from in the series entirely. Like for one thing, that we're going to be introduced to Dr. Linda, who is Dr. Linda Martin, right there, who turns out she was a psychiatrist. She was seeing Delilah on a regular basis, and so they're going to need to get to talk to her. But first, they got to stop, and we find out that Chloe, who she has a cop named Dan who's telling her that when she first assigned to the case, yeah, just wrap it up, don't waste a lot of time, all this other kind of stuff, just neat and tidy, just wrap the whole thing up. So she's like, I'm gonna do it the way I think it should be done. It's like, well, just don't waste too much time on it, kind of done and done, get it over with. But she's like, I have to make a detour to go to my kid's school because my kid got into a fight, and we find out that Chloe has a daughter named Trixie, who we find out that apparently Lucifer despises children. If anybody was to hurt a child, Lucifer would definitely give revenge for that child. But at the same time, though, too, Lucifer he's not a fan of children. A little bit by little bit, Trixie does kind of sort of maybe grow on him, but it's not by much. But so he goes and at first she tells him to wait in the car, and he's like, okay, yeah, fine, I'll wait by the car. And then he sees, this gorgeous woman walk into the school building. He's like, oh, I can't let that get away from me. So he goes and chases after her, but he doesn't find her. But so he sits down, he takes out this, lighter, and and turns out he's sitting right next to Trixie, Chloe's daughter. And she's like, I don't think you're allowed to smoke in here. He's like, oh, whatever will become of me, and he does this really funny thing. And she's talking about, my mom's a cop. She knows about these things. Like, oh, I think I know your mom. Who is she? And so it's like, so what are you here for? And she's like, well, me and that girl over there, we got into a fight. She started bullying me, and I didn't like it. So Lucifer, goes up to the girl, and at first she asks him, like, what's her name? He's like, Lucifer Morningstar. And she's like, oh, so like the devil. And he's like, yeah, exactly. So what's your name? And she's like, Trixie. He's like, that's a hooker's name. But so he goes to this little girl who's been bullying Trixie, and he flashes these evil eyes at her and scares the crap out of this little girl. Chloe comes out, sees Lucifer there, and so come to find out, Trixie is immediately taken with Lucifer. She just likes him right off the bat, even though he's not feeling the same way about her. But then they come out, and then we realize that actually Trixie is actually the daughter of Chloe and Dan. We find out that they were married at one point. Didn't work out. Basically, kind of the job got in the way and things like that. So anyway, so they're going through and they're doing more and more of their investigating, and they go to investigate Dr. Linda. It turns out Dr. Linda, once she meets Lucifer, she can't control her desire for him. She is just immediately horny for him, and she can't, but one thing though that I think is very, very interesting about the show is the fact that Lucifer, believe it or not, it's like Lucifer has sex with a lot of women on this show. Okay. And, you can still call him a womanizer if you want. But at the same time, though, it's like, he likes women. He's attracted to women. He has sex with women. But that doesn't mean that he disrespects them. If, for instance, he constantly admits that he would love to have sex with Chloe. And, it's like, it's understandable. Because, look at her. She's so stunning. How could you not want to be with her? But at the same time, they do have a scene where they're talking, and she admits that what she told him was the truth, that she just she tried the acting thing, didn't be a good job. She thought being a cop would be a much better solution, so she started doing this. And this is what she really wanted to do, is she wanted to help people. And he sees how earnest she is, and he sees her as she is as a person, and he he likes her. He does, like, never mind the fact that he is attracted to her and he does want to have sex with. It's like, believe it or not, it is true. I know it sounds crazy, but it is true. It is true that, a man can be attracted to a woman, sexually desiring her, but at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean that he would never take her seriously or that he would actually hate her. Okay. A man can like a woman. He can respect a woman that he's sexually attracted to. It is possible, believe it or not. So, but anyway, so, the show progresses. They, more and more, and then finally we come to the realization that they come to find out, spoilers, spoilers, but we find out that actually Jimmy Barnes, the producer that he talked to at the beginning, we find out he was the one who killed the girl. He didn't kill her specifically, he had her killed. He hired somebody to kill him. And then, we realize it's all about, he didn't want to be humiliated and all this other kind of stuff. And so he's got a gun. He's getting ready to shoot Lucifer. Well, Chloe shows up and, she shoots Jimmy down, but she doesn't kill him. She just wounds him. So he falls down, and Lucifer turns around and he's furious because he felt that Chloe killed him. And he's like, he killed Delilah and he needs to suffer for this and he needs to pay the price of what he did. And she's like, don't worry about it. It's going to happen. Then, Chloe, her shoulder explodes. She's been shot by the gun. And, so she falls down, and then Lucifer, he's like, no, 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 not you, not you. And so, he sees that Jimmy did it. And so he's, trying, you hang on, you hang on. He was like, Dad's not getting you. He always keeps talking about, God is his dad. It's like, Dad's not getting you today. He's going to have to wait on you. So he keeps getting shot. Jimmy keeps shooting him. So he's like, I'll be right back. So he goes and grabs Jimmy and holds him up to like a window. And they're looking at the reflection in the window, and he shows his demon face, and it pretty much completely freaks Jimmy out. So he's put into an insane asylum pretty much. And Chloe, she's alive. She's recovering from her wounds. And we see that, the two of them are starting to build a rapport together, even though she still has this, kind of disdain for him. She's trusting him a little bit more. She's liking him a little bit more. And the two of them are going to work together. And, so Trixie comes in. He's like, ooh, of course, Trixie's Lucifer. He's like, ooh, so, but he gives Trixie over to Chloe. He's like, I'll see you soon. And she's like, oh God, I hope not, But she does, she's not being nasty about it. She means it kind of half serious, kind of half joking. But she gives him a nut. See, that's the thing though too. Is like, there's a lot of stuff. Lucifer always kind of keeps talking about how, he doesn't understand people and they're so weird and they're so foreign to him and stuff. But as the show progresses, particularly Chloe, of all people, mostly, is always giving him, little tidbits of information. Wow, gives him ideas that he could use to try to better himself or try to understand his situation better. And so, we find out though that his brother Amenadiel comes along. His brother Amenadiel is one of, God's biggest angels, biggest warriors. And Amenadiel says, if you don't return to hell, there's going to be a war. And he's all like, I would love to bring a war. And Lucifer's like, yeah, bring it. I'll eat your heart, brother. And so, the show ends with, Lucifer going to Dr. Linda and saying, you know what? He's like, I decided, I'll have all the sex with you want. You can have as much as you want and more, but you need to basically be my therapist. I pay you in sex, you be my therapist. And she agrees to it. And then the door closes and the in-session light turns on, and that's where the first episode ends. So we're off to a good start. This show is amazing. It's not particularly scary, but it is funny. Very dark humor in it. Great characterization. Chloe Decker is easily is written as one of the best female characters on the TV show. I mean, there's no reason not to like her, like I said. Maze is a very interesting character that, as the story progresses, she, her initial responsibility is to protect Lucifer, but she ends up progressing as well. They all do, all these characters, advance and progress, and that's part of the fun of watching the show. Lucifer himself, though, but like I said, you can't sit here and be like, oh my God, how dare you make a show about the devil being charming? It's all like, look in the Bible. The devil is supposed to be charming. That's how he seduces you. That's how he tricks you. That's how he gets you. So, but anyway, though, yeah, we talked about episode 1 of Lucifer, the pilot episode. So we're going to talk about more later on. So I think we talked enough for a while. So yeah, get ready to go out in my nice car, wearing my nose closed, just like Lucifer does. Kidding. I'm kidding. Okay. Jeez, take a joke. Anyway, so that's going to wrap it up. If anybody took the time to watch all this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please like and subscribe. There's going to be more videos talking about the episodes of Lucifer, and like I said, I'm gonna start talking about do episodes talking about my other favorite TV shows as well. So that's pretty much it. This is it, Horror Heaven 77, and I am the Night Walker. And be careful, you might see me out walking around some night. So take care.